The Philippines is ready and open for business. This is the theme for the country's biggest business conference, which will return as a face-to-face event after more than 2 years of the pandemic. Joining us now is Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry President George Barcelon. Good evening, sir. Congratulations.
Good evening, Matthew.
The first face-to-face conference in 2 years, the 48th Business Conference and Expo, wants to look at how the government will build on economic reform measures initiated by the past administration. Can you name a few measures that you have in mind?
Well, this is really a continuity on what has been done with the previous administration, wherein important tax reforms were put in place. The CREATE bill, the CREATE law, and then the Public Service Act, and then the foreign investment and retail trade liberalization. Mm-hmm. All of these are good jump-off point for our country to rebound. Of course, unfortunately, with this geopolitical situation in Europe, it threw a monkey wrench not only on us, but also on other countries. But as the President BBM, during his state visit, has clearly stated the fact that our government is ready and open for business, similar to our theme of our business conference. And he, in some of the working session that I attended, he encouraged foreign investors, those who are already here in the Philippines and possibly new ones, that if you want to invest in the Philippines, it is now.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of the president's foreign trips, you were included in President Marcos's business delegation in New York, where he was able to secure billions in pledges. So can you tell us more about the trip and how soon do you see these materializing to investments and jobs?
Well, usually what we take notice is that the reception, the welcoming reception that we see from the American business community, and they have touched on a few points on how the government can push the agenda forward. Issues such as flexibility on incentives, and of course, lately, one of the issues that was much talked about was work from home. And the Secretary of Finance, Ben Diokno, has already stated that they will allow companies in the BPO to work from home in the meantime, because it is proper for them, because there are more investment coming in the BPO sector. Mm-hmm. So those are issues that has to be focused on. The connectivity is also one issue. The availability and the affordability of the broadband or the Wi-Fi throughout the country. Mm-hmm. And through the Secretary of the ICT, he laid out the plan on in the next few years on what will be done to make this happen. And other issues that are relevant that we know very well is that also the power issues were discussed on the site by private businessmen, and we have to realize that once the interest is there, we have to make ourselves ready for their investments.
So aside from everything that you just mentioned, what policy recommendations is PCCI looking to recommend to President Marcos at the conference?
Actually, we have our overarching advocacy for our business conference. It's what we call Reach Out. We feel that its letter means something. R means to reinvigorate our investment in the resource-based sectors. Meaning to say, mineral mining of minerals for exports, the forestry, such as bamboo and rubber plantations, and also salt harvesting. These are all within the capability of our government to allow more openness in mining. Second is, of course, enhancement of the energy, which I mentioned earlier, and also education. And the letter A is really to advance our agri-agua sectors and the need to revisit the constraints on the agrarian law.
All right.
And the letter C is connectivity, connectivity and climate change. So
All right.
those are the overarching advocacies that the PCCI is putting forth in this conference.
Well, on the business side, how are businesses responding to rising prices of goods and services, which is now really the most urgent concern of the public based on the latest Pulse Asia survey?
Well, we have to cope with it. Again, all of this increase in price is not of our own doing. These are caused by the geopolitical and also the logistic issues. And as you know, prior to the war and the COVID-19, our macroeconomic fundamentals is quite stable. We were able to maintain our currency, and the growth was 6.5 on the average. But due to this, so the headwind is not only from our side, even the other countries. And recently, the impact of the U.S. Federal Reserve increase in interest rates. So all the countries that basically use dollar in their trades has to follow suit. They have to mirror. That's why the devaluation of the peso and all imports, power, food, commodities, staple item, all are affected by that. So we are coping with it, but we can see that a lot of business establishment has been able to calibrate the price increase. If you talk about depreciation from January up to October, it's about 16%. But prices on certain agri-related products, which have increased more than other products. So we're hoping that the geopolitical situation maybe will simmer down maybe sometime next year, so that all of these prices on crude oil and everything will taper a bit. For a while, we were hoping that the oil prices gone down, but recently it has picked up again. So
That's
it's
right.
really hard to say because of the political situation.
Well, thank you for your insights, Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry President George Barcelon.